Ladies and gentlemen, we're back with another one. And welcome to the night show. To the night show. We're almost back. Just bear with us. That's what a table looks like when you do not trust the system whatsoever. We're back with another one. Welcome in, welcome in. That's what heaven looks like. If there was heaven, God. It looks like that table. Man. That's what happens when you don't trust the system. You know? Anything I can't hold in my hands physically, I tend to wonder if it's real. You know? There's a good saying that goes around on the internet that if you don't hold it, you don't own it. And man, is that the truth? You know? Even though Bitcoin may seem like a great deal, everyone says, you know, if you don't physically have the item in your hand, it's difficult to hand a large sum of cash over for it. It's like, isn't that the truth? Anyway, in today's video, we're going to dive into why freedom is a scam. Why America's a scam. Why it's all just, it feels like such a scam anymore. The whole damn thing. That, you know, you can't even go fish in a lake anymore. You gotta get a permit for that. You know, like, you know, you don't own anything. It really just came down to that point that if you're born in this world and you don't already have that pile of shit sitting there on the table, you're pretty fucked. You know, I look at that pile and other piles of shit that I've accumulated that is worth money and throughout my lifetime, and it's all just shit, isn't it? Cash, Pokemon, silver, gold. I mean, it's all just stuff at the end of the day, isn't it? But I do want to talk about some record sales that have happened as well tonight. The Pikachu from Holland Phantoms sold for $150,000. I called that card at like $40K that it was kind of like undervalued in a PSA 10. $150,000. The Blastoise from Logan Paul's little box break sold for $100,000. That card was barely breaking 30. It actually had dropped to 25 and even 20 because no one was buying it. Like, where's this new money coming from in some of these hobbies? I start to wonder. Because it's like, where were you the past 3 years? When this stuff was like not, it was ridiculous, but it wasn't like that ridiculous. A first edition PSA 10 Charizard from the Logan Paul box break sold for almost $1 million. Remember that card was $250,000 and no one really bought it because it's just so expensive. And $1 million today just makes you feel like everything's just not even real. It really does. That like the whole world's designed as like landmines. That some things will skyrocket you to the dome of success. Like if you bought a Holland Phantoms Pikachu at $40,000, you're now able to unload it for $150,000. Just like that. Poof. You just turn 40 grand into fucking $150,000. Well, there's a person out there working at Walmart making that would kill to make $150,000 or $100,000. I mean, they worked their whole entire lives to make that. And tonight, we're going to talk about the story of nostalgia bong hits. We're going to dive deep into what made me the person that I am today. And what finally broke for me. I was doing a job I absolutely hated. Multiple jobs. I worked for a borough, making $7 an hour, shoveling snow in the wintertime for $7 an hour. Hey, that was back when times weren't that bad. $7 an hour got you a lot. Makes me feel old saying this. But I had a job eventually making $23 an hour. And this was after inflation had already hit pretty hard. And I had one of my bosses say to me, they said, we're just so lucky to make $23 an hour. I think he was making 30. And it hit me. Hey, am I that lucky? And now that I look back at it, like in today's time to make $23 an hour, it may seem lucky to a lot of people that maybe make less. It may seem shitty to people that make more. But I look back at it now and I say, that's not lucky. Buying a card for $40,000 and it being worth $150,000 and you sell it, that is lucky, my friends. Buying Evolving Skies for $125 and selling it for $2,500 now, that is lucky. Working for $25 an hour in this system is not a gift. And maybe you're the person that hands out parking tickets in this world. You go to every car and you slap a sticker on it. And you make your measly $25, $30 an hour. And you work for the system that enslaves you. And it doesn't hit you all that it's all fucking bullshit. Like well you're and this is what hit me hard was I was working tirelessly for $23 an hour, day after day after day after day. And I'm not saying you don't have to do that, because you need money to invest. But I look at that pile over there and I say, man, this would be so hard to get in today's time if you didn't have money. And it's so true. The world is just changing so rapidly, and everyone's starting to realize that, like, if there's no longer that person that works at Walmart anymore, or there's no longer the person that does these shitty jobs, this whole system would cease to exist. And God, wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice to not have to slave for the American dollar? Fake paper currency. It wasn't that bad before. No one really woke up and realized it 10, 20 years ago, because no one wanted to see it, because everything was not that bad. You could clean dishes and you would survive, or you could do some type of small job, or you could push carts at Walmart. I see a guy every time I go into Walmart. He's a cart pusher. Pushes carts every day. Every time I go there, I see him. Young man, I look at him, I just think, man, like, you're doing this for like $11 an hour, brother. God, you have to want more. You have to want more out of this life, don't you? Than to be a slave for a corporation and make scraps. Not even enough to live. Not even enough to have a home. And it really gets to the point where a lot of us look at it and we say, this is fucking ridiculous. This is a terrible system. It enslaves us. It taxes us on everything. Taxes you on everything you buy, everything you make. And we all start to look at this system and say, why? Why? So we can pay pedophile criminals? Is that why we pay taxes? Is that why we do all this? Go to work every day. And that broke me. I had realized I'm working a job to never own anything. And just to pay the bills of survival, health insurance, gas, color, food, all the good shit, all the comfort zone shit. That's all this is it's temporary comforts. And you just start to wonder, like, is there more to this? There should be more to life than this. And hell, even after you finally save up the big sum of paper that you want to save up in life, you still look and you're like, there's got to be something more to this. And the true answer is there isn't. It's just stack as much currency as you can and do your best to stay out of trouble and not get robbed or shot or killed. And just keep your head down. And I feel like a lot of us just don't want to accept that. It brings me back to the beginning of my story of, being that person that was pushing the carts. And none of us want to accept that bullshit. This wasn't what you were designed for. You were designed for something bigger than being a slave. Designed for something bigger than this system that we all support, and we see it's broken. We all see it's unfair. We all see it's unjust. And there's just kind of a silence that none of us, like, we all want to do something about it, but none of us know what. Like, we all know it's not fair for your average person. We all know it's broken. It's very rigged for people that have been in this system longer to have more money than a person just starting out, and a person just starting out is dangerously in trouble. I mean dangerously in trouble. I mean, you almost have to have a miracle. I know most people, they have to have a miracle just to buy the Gengar VMAX on my table. I know some people look at that card as, like, that's all I ever wanted. There's that. And that's how it starts. And then you want, another card. And you want another booster box. Then you want, your own gold, and your own silver, and your own house, and your own, car, and all that. And it's a vicious cycle. And it's a greed, that we all have that greed in us, and God, it's a hell of a drug. But people are coming off of that high, though, of, like, yeah, maybe some of us have made money in this system, but we hate it. We hate the structure of it, the corruption, the politicians that steal everything, and have it so just no one owns anything. And most people are like accepting the fact they have to permanently rent for the rest of their lives. That's a brutal pill to swallow for someone. And a lot of us that have been in this system, like myself, for decades now, when I first started working, when I was earning $7 an hour, I would look at $23 as the greatest gift on the planet to make. wow, a $23 an hour job. It's incredible. And that's what, when I had finally quit working and just went into business for myself, doing my own thing, my own store, just my own grind of just buying everything, you know, houses, cars, cards, and gold and silver, and everything you can think of. I've had my tentacles in and out of, and it's just like I'm exhausted. I I genuinely I don't want to do it anymore. Um, you just want to like live off the savings that you made and just do nothing. And I don't know. It is, but for people just starting out, I really feel the worst for it because it's like I know just starting out today, I would really look at the whole situation of this world and I would say I can't ever accomplish this. And you, the viewer, I hope one day you do. And I've made a lot of sacrifices to get where I'm at. I've had a lot of sleepless nights. I've had a lot of work and effort and putting it into the grind and constant dedication to that grind, getting a little farther ahead every day. Every day just trying to get a little farther ahead than yesterday. And but you get to a point where you almost are like, but why? Why? Am I working so hard when people can just print money out of thin air, doing the stupidest shit? And it really isn't fair. Because in this world, if you don't have money to play with, you'll never make money. It's almost a simple game like that of there has to be people that work shitty jobs that live in poverty for the system to function. And it really is terrible. Um, it used to make sense when you could work a shitty job and like, hey, you still got a house, man, and you still got, like what you needed out of life. You got the necessities, a house, maybe a shitty car, and everything could be provided from that job. And it's just like you can't even do that now. Um, you just really can't. And it's just like, but someone that has even a couple $100,000 to play with, even $50,000 to play with, they can get so much farther ahead in the grand scheme of things than you can. And that's why a lot of people operate on debt, is they live off of it. Some people operate on mass amounts of debt and they haven't make the money, and then they pay their debt back and keep the profits of whatever venture they got into. And they have a massive advantage over us. And that's big banks, corporations, agencies. They have a massive advantage over the common person. And it used to be fair when I was younger. And it's just no longer fair for people, man. It's a broken race. And I want you to imagine it this way. Let's say gold and silver explode. Their silver goes to a steady $500 an ounce. Gold goes to $15,000, $20,000. And I mean, hey, a lot of people cheer. A lot of people that stacked are happy. But it really is that we need to end the dollar system. This is the thing that has destroyed us as a country, letting Federal Reserve banking take over. It's damaged this country every day. It makes it worse of a place for everyone to live in every day. It will never get better. And if you're hoping for it to get better, it never will. It will always progressively get worse. That's how fiat cash works. They all collapse. They all leave people homeless. They all leave people possibly jobless. They all eventually end in some form of a depression. And this whole system's just not fucking worth it. And everybody's talking about, the Great Awakening, the Great Reset. And it's like, some people say, be careful what you wish for, Be careful about wishing the dollar's end. Like it's the greatest thing on the planet, holding everything together. And really, it's what's tearing it apart. That if we were all paid in silver and gold for our wages again at normal silver prices, and banks were held accountable, they weren't allowed to loan out 90% more money than they have and borrow money from people, things wouldn't be this bad for the average person out there. But it truly is. And, every day I look around and I see families struggling. I see single parents struggling. I see just adults struggling in general. That, you're dealing with like a family member dying or even worse, your own kids dying or some travesties people are dealing with every day. And it's like, you have this fucking system just knocking at your door. Did you pay your taxes this month, sir? Did you pay the playing with your balls tax this month? Did you pay the breathing oxygen bill? Did you pay this? Did you pay your electric bill? We'll shut it off. Did you pay your heating bill? And it's just like, you're just never free. You're never free of this system. It is a way of constantly aggravating you and haunting you. And God, if you own a property, you know exactly what the fuck I mean. I mean, some of you, if you don't own a house yet, God, you're in for such a surprise. Because that house owns you. It's not the other way around. You don't own anything. It owns you. Because you got to take care of it, and there's 58 fucking bills for it every fucking year. Bigger the house you have, the more fucking money they take from you. And it's not a fair system for people to survive in. That we really have reached a point where it's broken, and I tell you this, embrace the dollar collapsing. It's better the sooner it happens, the better off we will be as a society. Don't fear it. Don't fear the Reaper. Because the game was rigged from the start. Don't let this system work you up so bad if you don't have money, or if you're not successful. Don't let it fuck with you. Because it's all fucking pointless. Everything on this earth is just so fucking pointless. There's no point to it. It's just all survival. And that survival is getting harder and harder and harder for people. Like the cart pusher in my story. That I don't understand how anyone can want to do that and feel honored. Even though I honor the people that work hard, man, I really do. I've been there right with you. It fucking sucks. But It's like every job you look at nowadays, every job you dreamed of, it's poverty. You dreamed of going to school to be a doctor, it's poverty after taxes. You might make 100 grand a year. After taxes, it's like fucking 60. You get hit with all the bills of life. You're probably putting away 20, 30 grand by the time it's all said and done. I can destroy every job out there almost, that they all suck. Anything you want to go do. Since inflation's hit, it's all pointless. There's no difference between being a doctor and making $23 an hour not getting taxed. It's all about the same thing. Unless you're a bank or someone that can rig markets or you're in the know of what's going to happen, like Congress that makes millions off of insider information. It really is just such a rigged game. And it's about time for it to end. I think everyone's cheering it on at this point. We just don't want to be slaves anymore. We don't want to participate in this system. We all want out of it. And we want it out of our hair. All the system's problems with paper money and debts, we want it out of our hair. This isn't my problem. I'm just a person living here. I'm just a person on this earth. I don't fucking care if the government's 39 trillion in debt. They're shady and they're criminals and they're crooks. Why is this shit our problem? And it's like, well, and there's the people that say, just give up. Fuck it. Just give up. And live off the land and do this. It's easy to say live off the land, but if you don't have any land to live off of, and land's $100,000 any plot you look at, that's pretty hard to do too. It's just like you're just enslaved to the system, and you end up becoming the renter. You know, the person that's renting a place every month, the borrower that, you know, is trying to pay their credit card off every month to pay their bills, and the worker. You end up falling in that position. And that is 100% why I went in business for myself. Because I knew I was destined for something greater. And college wasn't really my thing. I dropped out, you know. A lot of people feel like, well, if you drop out of college, it's all over. It's all over if you quit college. Nah. Quitting college was probably one of the best things I ever could have did. Doing my own thing was the best thing I could have ever did. Learning about the world was the best thing I ever could have did. Learning about business, how money works, finances, how God works. It was the best thing I ever could have did. Learning the world's a scam that enslaves people is one of the greatest things I ever could have learned. Because you have to decide, do you want to be the hunter or do you want to be the hunted? And I hate that it's even like that, because we need to just end it all. Of like, no more governments. No more people rolling over people's lives. I understand I don't want people getting murdered. Hell, it already happens in the world, even with governments. And they murder people. It's just you can't do it, which, I mean, is important. You don't want everybody killing each other and robbing each other and doing that. But I don't think we need governments to rule over us anymore. I think we could all get together as all countries and say, look, we hate, like, if you're from England, you hate Queen Elizabeth. You know she's a reptilian, Draco, shapeshifter, psycho fucking snake. And, you know, we hate Trump and Biden. We know they're all criminals and crooks. And we know they all work together and they're all against us, the people. Well, we can do nothing about it. Besides work in their system and earn money and survive and run on the treadmill. And it's like, I think we can all get together. And I'm sure China would even say, like, oh, we hate our fucking government too. Like, I think every country, every race, I think we can all agree, I hate my country. I hate All the countries. I think all of us can agree on that. Every race. And then come together and say, you know what? We're all just people, man. Like, and I hate to say like a one world government because that's even worse. But of like a one world ran by people where it's actually fair. There's no fiat currencies. Everything is ran by gold and silver. And the payments are in gold and silver. And the wages are actually like a real thing where you're not just getting paid in tricky paper cash that is really worthless, but it feels like it's money because it is money right now, at least, because it just gets worse. And it's like right now, if you're a working person, if you're not making $100 an hour, like it really is just not worth it for a job anymore. Because the actual cash itself is fake and worthless and garbage, and it doesn't buy anything. God knows it doesn't buy any silver anymore. But it's just all such a scam. And to the people that say, oh, you don't want to wish the dollar to crash. I do, because it's long overdue. And like I said, we don't know what's going to happen these next 2 years, but man, this world's getting very hot right now. And it's going to be interesting to see if it does boil over and what's going to happen. My best advice for all of you is to just prepare the best you can. I wish all of you the best. I have every one of my subscribers, everyone that watches the channel. But to be aware it's a scam, use your voice to expose it. Call out the fraud politicians. Call out the whole system. I've given you guys all the advice on it. How evil it all is. Smart meters, chemtrails, NASA meaning to deceive, Fox News being 666. It's a global system. You see it all in front of your eyes. It's just, when will you, the person, when will you, the slave, wake up and do something about it? And I hate to even say that, because what can you do? What can you do? And that's why a lot of us are just waiting for that great awakening. And the Epstein files, man, they really break that open a lot, don't they? Like, if you thought everything was unfair and rigged in this world, man, for a guy like Epstein to have more money than you, more success than you, more fame, and more wealth, even though he isn't here anymore or whatever, but more money than any of us average working people out there have made. And the guy's like a fucking cannibal, and he's living a way better life than someone working at McDonald's or working at Wendy's or Walmart or wherever. Like, it's just like back in the day when they all rebelled at the Carnegie Steel, where everyone's just like, this fucking sucks. And there was a revolution. Like, it really needs to happen, especially with the American government. I mean, like now they're just like a broke corporation, just trying to steal more, as much as they can, from their people to help their corrupt system. And it's just, it's a mess, man. It really is. And I ask you, the viewer, how much longer do you think it'll last? A year? A couple months? 5 more years? 10 more years? How long until everything just explodes? To the people revolt and say, we're not doing this anymore. Will the public still continue to be like wimps and not do anything about it? And I feel like that's why they try to hide masculinity from men so much, is because if men were all masculine, we would all stand up against this and say, fuck this matrix system. None of us want to do it anymore. And we would be free. And, 20 years ago, that wasn't a thing, because the older generations had a bunch of money. The younger generations were making some money, so we complained about it, but the boomers would tell us like, "Oh, it's all right, it's not that bad. You'll get where I'm at. Don't worry." And you're like, "Okay, man." And for a lot of the younger generations, that just hasn't happened. And now it's like virtually impossible to happen because you're on the debt wheel of bills and working to pay bills. That's all it is. Bills and working to pay bills. They have a bill for everything. Bill for every fucking little thing in this world. Can't even fish without paying the bill to fish. You can't hunt deer without paying the bill to hunt a fucking deer. I mean, it's just no longer like a free land where it was like you could start have a nice beautiful woods and cut trees down and build your own house and start your own family and with just some hard work. Like it's just like no, there's the hard work, but you'll never own land. You know what I mean? Or if you do, it'll be what 30 years of hard work did to finally pay off your land, which this is not a fair exchange to people. Especially when like you hear like a grandma say like I bought my house for 12 grand. You're like, what? You know, like, and there's many people that like they've worked 30 or 40 years and they just barely, they haven't even paid their house off yet. And it's three or $400,000. They hear you bought a house for 12 grand. Like, son of a bitch. It's just like a musical chairs game of like, who's the last one that puts their ass in the seat? You're fucked. And I see it happen in the real estate market. But eventually it's like these high prices, man, in the real estate market. I feel like they gotta collapse eventually. They've been coming down somewhat. I mean, no one's buying it because it's just no one wants to shell out these crazy sums of money for stuff. And I don't know. Like, it makes you wonder, like, where's the liquidity on some of this stuff? And will it all ever just collapse? I don't know. And that's what I'm waiting for with silver and gold, man, because there has to get to be a point where like everyone's like, dude, this paper money is fucking absolutely worthless. And they can just print it. And there's eventually just a straight rush into silver and gold. And you see the news articles where they try to just send you back to the drawing board of like, oh, gold's going back down, silver's going back down, guys, nothing to see here, walk away. But it's not. Like, the physical owners are not selling silver for under $90. They're holding. The corporations that sell silver, the APMEX, they're not selling you silver for under $100 if you're buying it. Well, we've reached a standstill in the silver market where they may say the price is 77, but you got to buy it on the internet, man. If you're the buyer, they're wanting above that. Like they're saying this is broken here. There's something not right. And I think we're just gonna see that boil and explode. And the job numbers being lies, and there are no good jobs anymore. And it's just like I don't know how the news media can sell this to people that there's good fucking jobs out there. There's not. I see nurses that went to school for 4 or 5 years, man, they're still broke. Because they didn't go into business for themselves or do something different than the path. And it's sad to see because they deserve it. Someone that went to school for 4 or 5 years, did all the hard tests and everything else, and they deserve a killer wage. And they're not getting it. Teachers. God, some of the teachers' wages are shocking. No, most teachers don't even make over 100 grand a year. And like 100 grand is the new standard at this point, where it's like if you're not making 100 grand a year doing something, it's very tough. And most jobs just they're not doing that. Where one day we all have to wake up as society and say, We're not doing these jobs anymore. You go find someone to go teach all these kids. You find someone to work at these hospitals. You find someone to do this and that. You find someone to go work at Walmart pushing the carts. You find a person to go put all the pull people over and give them tickets. You go find people to do that because none of us are doing it anymore. We're done keeping your society going for pennies. To never own anything. When will that break? And I feel like we're nearing that breaking point. God, there's still the sheep people though. And I know them out there that they'll work for this system until the day they die. They'll take the shitty fucking pay every year and they'll just suck it down like the cuck they are. But eventually something's got to snap for everyone else that says, you know what, fuck this. Fuck this. You know, you can't even argue for a raise anymore for these people because like their raise to even survive is comical. Like it's $20 an hour or less now. And like you need to go to like $100 an hour for people. And it's just it breaks because you can't even get close to that. You know, these companies can't pay people $50 an hour, $100 an hour and survive. I mean, they probably could pay their CEOs less, but my point is, this world wouldn't function if McDonald's workers got paid $100 an hour. But, God, you feel bad for them. I know I do. I feel bad for anyone that has to work for fucking McDonald's or Burger King or Walmart or be the parking ticket guy. But it's like people need to snap out of it and realize that it's all bullshit. You'll never get ahead in a broken system. Anyway, that's all we have for this one. Thanks for sticking around for the rant. But let me know what you think. You think we're due a reset? When do you think it will happen? Let me know in the comments. We're out. Have a good night.